Hey guys, how's it going? Today we'll be going over how to make a hanging planter box. Unfortunately, this project was done a while back and had lost the original videos, so now this will be a slideshow with a commentary. I hope you enjoy this project. The planters can be used to dress up any ugly wall, hang from a patio, hang indoors. They're also space-saving planters, so you can enjoy a garden wherever there's space is limited. So let's begin. I'll provide a list below in the description of the supplies and tools needed for this project. But here's a rundown. You'll need a vinyl post, an 8-foot, vinyl post caps, 4 of them, vinyl fence screws or like a white screw about 3/4 inches long, 8 of them. You'll need some cable ferrules, 4 of them. You'll also need cable stops, 2 of them. You'll need 2 cable thimbles about 3 3/32 inch, which is the thickness of the cable. You'll need some screw hooks. I use 2.5 inches long, 2 of those. You'll need 4 1 1/4 inch washers, as well as 4 1 3/4 inch washers. You'll need 1/2 inch pipe, 12-foot long, 3 3/32 thick cable, some weed barrier, obviously some dirt, which can be used like potting mix, something light. Also, obviously you need your plants or herbs or whatever you'll be planting. Also, some tools we'll be using is a hacksaw, a cable cutter, cable crimper, a drill bit, which would be about 1 1/8 inch. You'll also need a marker and a tape measure. Additional, which I haven't put in the pictures or instructions, you can actually do a drip system and run a drip system to the hanging planters, so that way you don't have to focus on watering them all the time. You will first need to take the 5 inch by 5 inch by 8-foot long vinyl posts, and you'll have to cut it in half, which will be about 4 foot long. Once you have 2 posts 4 foot long, you'll have to cut a channel where you plant the plants. I used a 42 inch long channel. I rounded the edges, that way it creates more support for the boxes so they don't bow in as much. I used a 3-inch channel to go all the way across it, 3 inch wide. Next, you'll have to drill 1/8 inch holes through the planter box, the top and the bottom, to allow the cable to run all the way through the planter. Here I drilled it 2 inches from the edge of the planter, and then 2.5 inches to the center, because they're 5 inch wide planter boxes. And you'll do this on the top, bottom, and on both sides of the planter box, as well as the second planter also. Next, I used a 7 3/32 inch drill bit to drill 9 holes, evenly spaced about 5 inches apart, all the way down the center of the bottom of each planter box. This way, you don't overwater them. The water will drip out. If you water the top planter box, it can drip down to the next planter box, which actually will also water it. So make sure if you run the drip system to each planter box, you know the bottom planter boxes need less water because it will go through the top planter box into the bottom. Next, cut 4 1/2 inch pipe in 4 5/8 inches lengths. In one side of each pipe, cut a 1/8 inch wide slot by 3/4 inch long depth. That way this pipe will actually be used as a support for the cabling system that the cable will run through, and the slot will actually help guide the cable into the holes. All right, next you'll have to place a cap on each side of the planter boxes and just screw in the 3/4 inch screw in the top and the bottom to hold it in place. Next, put the 1/2 inch pipe into where the cable will be running through. Next, take your 12-foot cable that should measure in 3 3/32 in thickness and cut it into 2 equal sections that will measure 6-foot lengths. Then take the planter that will be the bottom planter and insert the cable through the bottom, through the pipe. If you can't seem to get the cable to go through the second hole that's on top of the planter, then move the pipe towards you so you can see the cable come through. Pull the cable through the pipe, then insert it through the top hole. Then once you push the pipe back in, that slot is used so it won't kink or get caught on the cable. It basically will bind. So that slot is there so it won't bind. Next, once it's ran through, run the other side. Then on the bottom of that planter, we'll actually add some of the washers. First, you'll put the 1 3/4 inch washer on. Then you'll put the 1 1/4 inch washer on. The 1 3/4 inch washer is large enough so that way it holds the planter so it won't rip through or bind in one area. It has more of a surface area. The next washer, the smaller washer, is the 1.25 inches. The reason why we use that is because the hole on the bigger washer is going to be too large. So this hole on the smaller washer will be smaller. That way the ferrule won't run right through the middle of the bigger washer. So once those are on, you'll need to add on the cable ferrule, then loop the cable back through the other side of that cable ferrule and make it so just a little loop, and then when it barely goes through the other side, crimp it. That way it creates a solid stop, and you can create like a decorative loop, and you can actually hang things from that loop as well if you needed to. Once you're done with that side, follow the same instructions on the other side. Next, you'll need to measure where you want to place the second planter box. I placed it 2 feet above the top of the bottom planter box. That way, if I was gonna grow herbs, a lot of herbs grow like 18 inches to even 2 feet tall. So make sure whatever you're planting, you know the height of those plants. That way you can, put accordingly however high you want the planter boxes. So measure where you want it. If it's 2 feet, measure up to 2 feet. Mark with a black marker on both sides. Then we're gonna add on the cable stop, which is just a single ferrule where it runs down and you can crimp it. So put that down there. Put the 1 1/4, the smaller washer on, then the larger washer, which is 1 3/4. Do that on both sides. Then run the cable through the second planter, just like we did on the first one. After those are done, make sure the cable ferrule or stop is where that mark is. Crimp it right there on both sides, and then you're done with that. You can put the planter box all the way down to that stop or the washers, and you're done with the planter box. Now, once the planters are done, you'll go to the top of the cable. You'll put on a cable ferrule first, then you'll get the cable thimble, which you can use the 3 32 inch thickness ones for the 3 32 cable. If you can't find them, which sometimes the 3 32 inch thimble's harder to find than the cable, you can use a 1/8 inch thimble. Work just about the same, not much more movement in it. Wrap it around that cable thimble and then back into the ferrule. Once it's in, you crimp them and do it on the other side, and then you're done with your planter box. Next, you'll have to hang the planter box. So make sure wherever you put your hooks, make sure you can pre-drill a hole and then insert the hook. It'll be easier that way. You don't want to just screw it right into the wood or it'll splinter. So make sure the drill bit is just wide enough where you can pre-drill a hole. Insert the hooks. Once the hooks are in, you can just hang your planter box wherever you want, and that's it. And then you can plant your plants. First, you would need to put in the weed barrier on the bottom of both planters. That way the dirt won't go through those holes that you had drilled for drainage. And then once that weed barrier is in, put your potting soil. You make sure if it's an indoor plant, use your indoor potting soil or outdoor potting soil, or sometimes there's a combination. Plus, make sure if whatever soil you're using, it's good for whatever you're planting. So if you're planting flowers, you want a flower one. If you're planting vegetables, you want a vegetable one. If you're planting herbs, I like to label my herbs: oregano, basil, parsley, whatnot. This way it looks nice, clean. You know which is what. If you don't know, or if someone else needed to get some, they know which is what. With this planter box cable system, you can actually add more planter boxes to that cable, especially if you put them maybe 18 inches apart or even 12 inches apart. You can add maybe 4 or 5, depending on the space you have. These are space-saving boxes, so don't let 2 planter boxes limit your idea. You can also add the drip system. Like I said before, the drip system will help with watering, on timed watering, how much water you would need exactly for each plant, etc. So drip system's really good to use. So thank you for watching, and I hope you love this video. I have more videos to come, so please subscribe and like this video. If you have any comments, feel free to comment. If you have any other ideas or you want to share your ideas, please comment me on below and I'll give it right back to you. Thanks guys for watching.